Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Bruce Parkman on the line, and he is president at the Mac Parkman Foundation for Adolescent Concussive Trauma. Bruce, welcome to the show.
Adam, thanks for inviting me, and I really appreciate you, your staff, and Mission Matters for letting us speak on these critical topics today.
So, Bruce, I'm excited to get into the Mac Parkman Foundation. We have a lot to cover. We'll cover your story, of course, why you started the foundation, and a lot of information that I feel that many parents need to know, members in the athletic community, educators. I mean, this is great information that we'll be bringing up today and that you'll be educating us all on. So that being said, just to get us kicked off, Bruce, let's start with your mission. So, Bruce, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. Bruce, what mission matters to you?
Adam, the mission that we're focused on right now is the correlation between allowing kids to play contact sports before the age of 14 and the resulting brain damage and mental illness that can devastate families like ours. Right now, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of parents are not knowing or unknowingly exposing their kids to the risk of brain damage by allowing them to play concussive sports or contact sports before the age of 14. And what we're trying to do is get the parents to know that it's not the concussions that are hurting these kids. It's the exposure to the subconcussive activity, those little hits that every kid takes when they head the ball in soccer, when they hit somebody in football, when they check in hockey, when they hit the floor in volleyball, when they hit the mat in wrestling. Those hits to a developing brain over time, especially before 14, is leading to chronic mental illnesses that we feel is endemic in the sports community within this country. And we formed this foundation after the passing of our son, Mac Parkman, from what's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or from his mental illness from the result of these sports, in order to get these risks out. We were caring parents. We did not know our son was at risk. He wanted to wrestle. He wanted to play football. He wanted to snowboard and ski. We're like, let's go. It's time together. It's family. Let's go. So that's what our mission is all about. And we really appreciate the opportunity to speak about this on your show.
So, Bruce, appreciate you sharing that story and your mission. Love bringing individuals on here with, strong missions to get it out to the masses. So I want to spend a little bit more time on the idea of contact sports just in general. So I feel like what you just said. So, I mean, I wrestled growing up when I was pretty young. Like, that was a big deal when I was really young. I didn't, well before 14. I mean, I was a little guy out there, right? Trying to lift my weight and throw it over my head. So I was one of those little scrawny kids. And I know my parents had no idea. Like, if my mom watches this, she'll be like, what? Like, I had no idea. Like, they didn't know they were putting me at risk or anything like that. It was like, I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club with great organization, do a lot of good. And I just didn't know. So tell us a little bit more about just the overall landscape and what you've seen there.
Well, I mean, in America today, we're one of the few societies that really pushes contact sports on our children. I mean, outside of some of the rugby nations, and I played semi-professional rugby back in the day, no other nation really focuses on highly concussive sports, and playing them as a child has been a part of America's life. But things have changed now. Back when you wrestled, you probably wrestled for your school, one season. Now you can wrestle for the travel club. You can wrestle for private clubs. You can wrestle for the school. And we're taking a sport, any sport, football, soccer. You talk to all your friends and parents that are doing travel and all this. We're taking these sports, we're making them year-round activities, and the kids' brains are just not ready. The science is there demonstrating that the kids' brains are not ready. So, that's contact sports. We love contact sports. We love our kids. We always thought that, we got to train boys how to be men and girls how to be women and create leaders. But the problem is we're not allowing our children to be children. And then when they're 14, then it's time. The science is there. At that point, they can start. Tom Brady didn't pick up a ball till he was a freshman in high school. He turned out pretty good, you know? So I think there's a lot of room in the way we perceive contact sports in our children, and a lot of understanding that still needs to take place in education and awareness, so that parents make better decisions when their kids come to them about wanting to play, or the parents thinks it's okay and pushes the child to play these sports at a young age.
Yeah. And something else, as you're saying this, just comes to mind is just like the different sports seasons, right? So you're going from one sport to another, many of them having some of these same, characteristics, right?
Yes, sir. And that's where our son, as a family, we got in problems. I mean, the sports that he wanted to play, football and wrestling, are back to back. It's not like a fall spring sport. They're back to back. Football here starts in July, ends in November. Wrestling picks up, goes to March, and then it's ski season. And we're on the slopes. And snowboarders, as they learn, they don't fall down; they crash. And we do believe that now it's a big problem now when you put those back to back sports together over that amount of time, year after year after year. We made a huge mistake. We didn't know, and we want other parents to learn from our mistakes and to be aware that the kids cannot do this. No matter how much they want to, you cannot allow them to do that. And I wouldn't even recommend back-to-back sports for anybody in high school as well. It just, and we'll get to that as we, later on in the show.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. And I guess let's go deeper into the Mac Parkman Foundation and what you're doing to educate and help other parents and things like that. So tell us a little bit more about the foundation and the mission.
Well, the foundation, we serve as as a connector. We're not the subject matter experts on this. We work closely with some of the leading organizations in the country, primarily the Concussion Legacy Foundation. They are the folks that run the brain bank for the NHL, for the NFL, for the major sports leagues. That's where our son is at this time. He's one of the high school athletes there. They are recognized as the CT experts in the field. We work with the Patrick Grisha Foundation, another foundation formed after the passing of a young football player. We work with the American Brain Council, and our job is to go out there and find the absolute best information for parents so they can learn. And so we work with these foundations. There's another one called Practice Like the Pros. A lot of people don't know in the NFL right now, there's only 15 minutes of contact allowed in practice in the NFL right now as a rule. They also don't know the Ivy League colleges have no contact practice at all during the season. So my question to you is, if the NFL and the Ivy League can understand the importance of no contact practice, why can't our middle schools, where football shouldn't even be played, if you ask me, or high schools, do the same? And we're not educating our athletic trainers, our coaches, our medical staff, our psychiatric staff in these observations or these potential results, so that they can help the parents make informed decisions. But yeah, I mean, so that's what we do is we go out there, we try to find the latest studies, the cutting edge research, and then connect parents to those organizations so they can learn and become aware. And then, of course, we're here, to honor the legacy of Mac, man. I mean, Mac was an amazing boy, and he didn't need to not be here at this time. And so, so part of our foundation is to keep his memory alive and to help prevent more Macs, as we like to say.
Tell me a little bit more about the connection between the concussive sport and mental illness, like how that kind of plays a factor.
Yeah, Adam, I mean, right now it is our opinion that most of the world is focused on concussions, right? Everything's focused on preventing concussions. Well, the concussions, my son had 3 concussions. 2 of them were moderate. He was, 2 weeks later cleared to play. One was mild. It really couldn't have been a headache. But our son is not here, not because of those concussions. He's not here because of the subconcussive impacts that then lead to physiological brain damage. That brain damage, if the brain is not allowed to rest, the brain heals wrong. And part of the problem with brain healing wrong is you start developing, psychological problems, psychological issues. You have cognitive decline. And we're, looking at children right now and NFL athletes that are showing aggressive impulsivity, suicidality, their relationships are suffering, bankrupt. I mean, you can go on and on and on of how, people that have been, athletes who have been damaged have had problems in their lives. Well, those problems in their life they're not a result of just having concussions. They're a result of the subconcussive activity. And most of these athletes started playing at a very, very young age. And over time, those impacts add up. And then, again, with the brain not properly healing, then you develop, physiological damage that leads to mental illness, and then ultimately can lead to, severe psychosis, suicidality, and unfortunately issues like our son was unknowingly suffering from, which caused him so much emotional pain that he just wanted to be with the Lord, and he couldn't be with us anymore. And we don't want, any family to go through that. But this is a result every day. And what I'd like the listener to take home is that not every child can have a concussion, but every child will suffer from subconcussive injuries if they're playing contact sports. That is a given. You cannot control, you can try to prevent concussions from happening, but just by the nature of these sports, the subconcussive trauma will take place. And if exposed too young, then you're not doing the right thing for your child. And the chance of getting injury right now, it is estimated that for every year before 14 that a child plays, they have a 30% chance of getting CTE over time.
30%. That's substantial. That's a big percentage.
Right now at the Concussion Legacy Foundation, Adam, out of 16 high school athletes that are there, 15 of them have been diagnosed with chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Wow.
So
that's an appalling stat.
Yes, sir. And a lot of people don't associate this condition with children. It's an NFL disease.
That's what I thought. I mean, I don't have kids yet, and so I haven't been down that route, but I just mean in general, that's what I thought. Like you see on TV, and then you see like the NFL, and they're looking at what happened to somebody after their career, and you're thinking like, oh, those are some big guys, and they're professionals, and this and that. You don't think of like, a middle schooler, right? That's out there just, with his little pads on, giving it all he has, right? And you don't think about that hard fall that they did where they just bounce back up, right? Because they're kids, and it doesn't, they have that spring still in their step. Like that's in my mind what I remember seeing. I'm not thinking about like, wow, there's something that's maybe happened to that middle schooler's brain at that moment where they got up and they look fine, but there might be something that they're going to suffer for years after, based off of that hit that you just watched.
Yes, sir. When we went through some of the questionnaires for the Concussion Legacy Foundation, we realized that our son must have had, because he was snowboarding a lot more than the 3 concussions he was diagnosed, because the children don't even know if they got dizzy. That's a concussion. If they're nauseous, that's a concussion. It's not just I got knocked out on the playing field. So our children don't even know when they have concussions and are not telling the coaches. And then the other part of this, Adam, is unfortunately, we program our children to be tough, right? Suck it up, walk it off, son. Don't talk about it. And then a lot of these children are so into their sports that they don't report the concussions because they don't want to not play. And they want to get back on the field. So there's a lot of pressure here from the parents, from the children themselves, from the teams to try and stay on the field. And all that goes away if we just say, you know what, when you get to 9th grade, you can play anything you want. Goes away.
Wow. Pretty amazing. Why do you think it's so, and I know you're doing all you can at the Mac Parkman Foundation, but why do you think it's so hard to get like this information or to get like systemic change? Because I didn't know about that about Ivy League, either the football practice and like even in the football, like why do you, or the pros, why do you think it's been so difficult to get that change at the, at the lower levels where like the middle school, for example?
Well, Adam, we're starting to get into this now. Now, when our son passed, which will be a year ago in September, I was so upset to start reading and find out that there were actually a concussion specialist. I didn't know this. I thought you sent your son to the doctor. We loved his coaches. His coaches loved my son. I thought, all right, they're trained professionals. All right, we got this, right? I've had concussions. 2 weeks later, he's back. I never understood the impact on his young brain. And I think, part of the pushback right now is that, number one, parents and children love these contact sports.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll listen. But the other part is that the knowledge is there, but it's been mostly confined to the research community, to the universities, to the people that are doing the studies, NIH, CDC, and that research that nobody, I think there's just a very, people are averse to telling parents that with all this activity, all the money, just think of all the money that's in kids sports, that you're not doing the right thing. And nobody wants to be that person. Well, I'm that person. I'm telling you as a parent right now that if you're allowing your child to play before the age of 14, you are risking your child's mental stability, his future. Okay. And it's just not worth it. Let them play video games. There's other sports to play. They can run, there's soccer, there's swimming, there's just adventure. There's just all kinds of stuff that kids can do. Just let them go play. But they don't have to put it on a set of pads, and they don't have to hit other people. And right now at that age, it's just not right. I think that what we would love to see is that this becomes something that every parent is aware of. Just like, if you look at them, you raise your kids and you protect them against everything you know about it. Don't touch the stove, right? Stay away from the pool. Don't drink and drive, right? We teach them to do everything that we know is a risk. Well, this is an unknown risk right now. When I speak to parents, they are baffled, just like I am, that this is a risk. And they're amazed. And then you see they say, it makes sense. It makes sense. And we should let our kids be kids. But that's what we really want to look at is how, this is part of why I'm here talking to you, is to try to get the word out. And you are helping me, help other parents and help other kids. And there's no higher calling on God's earth than that.
What kind of advice would you give to, the parents that are watching this right now? That there's some that are like we describe, their children's activities to a T, right? So they're going from one sport to another. And it's possible that maybe they're not going to just stop everything immediately. Like we know patterns and habits and behaviors. It doesn't just, it's tricky, right? But like, what kind of advice would you give them? Like, what would you recommend is the starting point of this?
Well, I mean, you have three classes of parents. You have parents whose kids have never played contact sports yet.
Yeah.
And to those parents, I would say, obviously, just wait till you're 14. Just don't even start. Don't go there when they come home, because, one of the reasons my son played football is the football team asked him, and it's like, I'll be part of a team, right? I like these guys, right?
Yeah.
No, the answer is no, right? Just don't do it. For those parents whose kids are playing, if they're under the age of 14, get them out of contact sports now. Put them in flag football. As a matter of fact, I just found out, and we're investing in a professional flag football team. There's more flag football players than tackle football players in America right now. Wow. Flag football is a non-concussive. You can't prevent it hitting the ground, but as a sport, it's a non-concussive sport. All right. If you're in rugby, there's touch rugby. Okay. If there's soccer, there's no head soccer. Right. Get your kids, protect your kids, get them in a sport, or they take them out. If they're playing back-to-back sports, take one away. It's too much. If your kids are in multiple leagues, I play for travel and all this, it's too much subconcussive exposure. Or, travel leagues here, 3 to 6 months rest, then you play for the school, and then you keep that rest period. That rest period is absolutely critical. And then for those parents whose kids have played a lot of sports over the years, watch your child. If they do show signs of, just become familiar with some of the signs of what they call post-concussive syndrome and CTE, and be aware that if they are struggling with work or their family or their finances, it might not just, or with drug addiction. We're finding kids in treatment centers right now that have had 9 confirmed concussions and are being treated for substance abuse. Well, they're using substance abuse to self-medicate for the pain, but they're being treated because nobody will dig into their past, and they're not trained to do the correlation between all the sports you played, potential physiological brain damage, and mental illness, and the use of your substance. So keep an eye on your child. And then for those, every child has concussions. And so if your child has concussion, number one, if it's at the beginning of the season, if they say 2 weeks, take 4. Don't let them go back and play the rest of the season right after they had a concussion. If it's the end of the season, okay, you can take some risks there.
Mhm.
But what we're finding out right now is that there is a 30-day post-concussive syndrome survey that every child should take. And tell your child to be honest if they're still having headaches, if they're still nauseous, if they still don't, if they're sensitive to light, if they're
Yeah.
sleeping in way too late. These are all signs of anxiety, depression, and forms of mental illness that could be a result of that concussion. Right now, as far as I know, nobody in this country is required to take that 30-day post-concussive survey. There might be some states that do it,
Yeah.
but as a whole, taken as a whole, it's not a requirement. If you're a parent, you need to understand that your kid just had a brain injury. All right.
Yeah.
You have to take it seriously. We treat concussions like headaches in this country, and there's so much more than that. So
Mm.
those are some of the recommendations that we would make. And again, we're not the subject matter
Yeah.
experts, but doing the reading, those are pretty rational and logical, recommendations to make to anybody that's considering or has had a child participate in contact sports. Sir.
How do people get involved with the foundation and really, spreading this information? Like, how do people get involved?
Well, we're pretty nascent right now, but
Mhm.
if you go to our website, you can follow our blogs. We've got newsletters coming out. We
Mhm.
do post events. Our partners, Concussion Legacy Foundation, American Brain
Mhm.
Coalition, and the Patrick Risha Foundation.
Mhm.
We've got a lot of links to studies and the science that's behind while we're there. I will fly anywhere and speak.
Mhm.
The CLF will provide speakers if you'd like a speaker to
Mhm.
come. If you want to raise awareness, we're not looking for money at all. We
Yeah.
have been very blessed to fund this, but we want to build awareness. If you want to know more, if you want to become a
Mhm.
brand ambassador, we'll educate you because in the end, all we have and our true treasure is our children, and we
Yeah.
should not be risking them unknowingly, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, you can go to the website www.mpfact, Mac
Mhm.
Parkman Foundation for Adolescent Concussive Trauma.com. We have a Facebook page, hashtag Kids Brains Matter. You can
Yeah.
go there and ask us, how we can help. We had one parent call us up the other day, and he's like, "Tell me Mac's story. I've got one of
Mhm.
my friends bragging about his kid playing football. He's 5 years old. He was going to put him
Oh,
in pads at 5 years old." We told him the story. He went to the website. They put him in flag football that day. And
wow.
that's the kind of impact that we want to have. We're not anti-contact sports. I'm
Yeah.
playing in a rugby tournament in 2 weeks, but we are all about contact sports at the right age.
Mm.
Because no parent, I'll tell you, my son was one of the best human beings ever.
Mm.
You don't want none of this pain. That's why I'm here, to help you
Mhm.
understand. You don't want none of this. It is preventable. It is absolutely 100% preventable with some of the basic knowledge that we have on our website. So
Mm.
that's how you can get involved. And if you want to, please come to us. We'll help you all we can. You want to start up your own foundation? We'll help you do that too. We just want to get the word out, Adam. We really do.
No, I completely understand, and I get it, and it's a big cause. And like when you say that, like that 5-year-old who moved over to flag football that next day, I mean you're affecting lives. Like you maybe saved that kid's life, right? And you saved like a lot of damage that could have happened there. And I just feel like the more we get this message out, the better. Because a lot of people out there that if they had the information, if they knew, like my parents wouldn't have done that, like that, I wouldn't have been playing, you know what I mean, I wouldn't have been out there on the mats and doing certain things I was in wrestling. I wouldn't have been doing a lot of other things. I think a lot of parents also out there, when they see this and when they really think about that, like, and think about like, hey, what's the big deal, like have them wait until ninth grade, right? Like that's what you're saying. Like it's not saying they can never play football or they can never do something, but let their brains develop, like let them get to the point to where there's less chance of it being something serious that's going to affect them their whole life. Like that's the message, right?
Absolutely, Adam. I mean, you could have said it any better. This is not rocket science. We're
Mhm.
not saying you can't play sports. We're just saying let your kids be kids. I mean, I spent 21 years in the Army teaching young men to be men. You don't need to teach boys to be men. Just teach boys how to be good boys. And
Mhm.
when they're in high school, then have at it. Play all the
Yeah.
football you want, play all the hockey you want, because you have done your best. You have protected your
Mhm.
child. But until then, the risk's not worth it. It just is not worth it, sir.
Mhm. This is great, Bruce. It really is. So what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the Mac Parkman Foundation? Like, what's next?
Well, on the 24th, we got a Big Mac for Mac Day. So Mac loved his Big Macs, and we used to go to McDonald's every morning to get egg white delights and stuff. So the 24th is his 1 year anniversary of leaving for the Lord. And so we're gonna have a Big Mac for Mac Day, and we're encouraging people to, get, take a picture with a Big Mac, post it to the website. We have an amazing video. We've been in partnership with American Airlines. That video will go on the headrests of all the flights in November and December. We have that video available. It's an amazing video that we can, help head out. We have a book, a concussion survival guide that's being written right now that'll be given away for free. So parents can just have the little bit of information, a 30-minute read, and I'll guarantee you probably aren't going to want your child playing contact sports before ninth grade. So, some of those are some of the things we have planned. Our daughter, who's a nurse practitioner of psychiatric medicine, is speaking at a leading psychological conference here in a couple of weeks to help spread the word on why her brother is not here and what we can do to help. But those are the things we have going. We're looking for partnerships, partners in the education space. We think it's critical right now. Just so you know, there is no formal training for coroners to identify CTE as a cause of death and an untimely death. My psychologist, my therapist, has told me there is no training for psychologists to correlate and look at sports history as a result of mental illness. And then when I pulled, the athletic trainer guides out there, most of the athletic trainer curriculum out there have minimal work on concussion and nothing on subconcussive trauma. So these are key areas that we want to start building educational training materials on for continuing medical education credits, continuing professional education credits, so people can learn more about this in their professions and help these children or help identify children at risk and help them before it gets too bad. So because it's like I said, it is preventable.
Man, that's quite a bit that you're doing, and I mean, you're just going to affect a lot of lives. So I think obviously the mission is amazing, and wish you the best of luck continuing on it. We're going to do all we can do to support you in this mission, of course. And I got some things planned for you. So I want you to come on and host a clubhouse event for us and some other things so that we can continue to even get this out to our audience even more. So I got some other things in the back end planned for you because I want to continue to help you with this mission over and above the interview that we're doing today. So I think I would definitely want to get that in. A lot of people that follow us, the business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives, and they have kids. Some of them younger, some of them older, some of them they need this in their workplace, right? They have employees, they have big companies, and they need to provide this information to their employees as something that on the corporate level, as something that as a benefit and something that to continue the message. So lot of good things, and I look forward to working with you more on this and getting the word out. That being said, if somebody's watching this right now, Bruce, and they want to follow the journey, they want to get involved, what's the best way for them to do that?
Adam, they can go right to the website, Mac Parkman Foundation for Adolescent Concussive Trauma, www.mpfact.com. We've got an amazing Facebook page. You can hashtag Kids Brains Matter. It'll take you right to it. And those are the two best ways. We've got some TikTok videos coming out because we figured that's a good way to reach people now. Oh, yeah. And we're looking for suggestions. If you're a caring parent, just like you said, Adam, I mean, we would appreciate so much working with you more and ideas like that this is an important subject. It is about our kids. And if you have any ideas on how to better get the word out, our ears are wide open. We'll fund events. We'll do whatever it takes. We're looking at funding some research right now to get more science behind the parents' decision. So we really appreciate it. And that's how folks can get involved and reach out so we can help protect as many kids as we can, sir.
Awesome. And what day is that? Do we want everybody to post again? I don't want them to forget. I'll post a picture with a Big Mac because Mac loved his Big Macs. I'm in. I'm doing it.
I made the video the other day, and I'm 59 years old, and I've never had a Big Mac in my life. But I made my first one. I considered them a big fat pill. I wouldn't eat them. I just wouldn't. I try to take care of myself. So I was like, right, for my boy, anything for my boy. It's always been my boy. So yeah, September 24th, that weekend, And we're just inviting people to just go ahead and take a bite of that Big Mac, post a video. We'll send you a bracelet. We'll just provide recognition. We're allowing people to buy Mac Parkman Foundation T-shirts at cost because we have to pay our vendor for the printing. Yeah. It's not going to cost. We'll have a discount code there. Post a picture. Go buy a T-shirt at the swag store, and just trying to have a little bit of fun on a very, very heavy day. But yeah, that's the date, September 24th. And thanks for allowing me to bring that up, Adam. That's amazing.
Absolutely. Well, Bruce, again, really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing more about the Mac Parkman Foundation and all the great work that you're doing really to pay it forward and to help other parents out there become aware. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget, share this video. Maybe you have kids. Obviously, hope you enjoyed the information. But if you know others that have kids, whether you work with them, coworkers, friends, family, like the main thing here is that we really want to get the word out so that people are educated and they can make decisions for what's going to work best for them and their families. And that's the main thing here. So, Bruce, really appreciate you coming on the show. It has been a pleasure.
Adam, can't thank you enough for the opportunity to be here. God bless you and the whole crew that's helping you put this together. We can't thank you enough. And we really, really sincerely appreciate it. God bless you, sir.
Thank you.